Hello, everybody, and welcome here to the Wine with Jimmy channel. I'm your host, Jimmy Smith. Thank you for clicking by. It's all about wine education here, designed to help you get more out of wine, but of course, prepare you for key wine examinations if indeed you are studying the world of wine. So, welcome to a mini series here called Practice Wine Tasting for the WSET Level 3. This is a version which is for my US of A contingent, so over across in the States. And I have selected 6 wines readily available in the US market, and I am going to dissect them as an examiner. So you can, of course, taste them blind and mark yours against what I'm about to show you, or you can taste along if you would like some coaching on, of course, how to assess these wines. Now, any comments or questions, please do get in touch by leaving your comment or question below this video. Make sure you click like and subscribe. So I've selected 6 wines, so 3 sets of 2. So there'll be 3 videos. This is part 1 on the tasting pair 1. The 6 wines are available at Total Wine and More, which operate in nearly 280 stores across 28 states in the United States. So these should be fairly readily available. And it's about $130 for the 6 wines. Okay, so that's the 6 wines that I have selected. Now, I pick these as typical examination wines. So they are wines which show huge amounts of typicity. So it really gives you an idea of what you may be facing in your examination. The first pair will be the 2 on the left-hand side, which is the Riesling and the Valpolicella. Okay, so here we are. Here's the Riesling that I have selected from Total Wine. This is a Verband Productsweinguter. It is a VDP producer called Balthasar Res. It is from Hattenheimer. That is a village. And the vineyard is the Schützenhaus. It is a Riesling from the Rheingau, 2022 at only 9% alcohol, and it's about $28. And this was tasted April 2025. Now I'm going to go through my tasting note, and I'm going to show you the appearance, the nose, the palate, conclusions. Now you can pause now and taste and make your own notes, and then of course go through it with me, or you can just go through it as you go along. It's absolutely your decision. Okay, so let's have a look at this wine. So I have some here. Really useful to do these videos because, of course, you can do them in the comfort of your own home. You can also, if you think $130 is a little bit too much, but you can share the cost, remember, by getting a tasting group together. And you can easily get 10 tasting samples, if not more, from a bottle. So it means that, in fact, it's exceptionally affordable if you do it that way. Now this, we're going to look at the appearance. 2 marks for appearance. There are no marks for clarity. You can put it down if you wish. You'll see that I've done another observation there on the slide. There's no mark available for this, but this wine certainly has some pétillant, some little spritz to it when you pour it in the glass. This is normally an indication that the wine's going to be very fresh, going to be very high acidity, and often quite young if that is the case. But there are no marks. It's just a good indicator of what's to come. This wine is typically sort of pale and lemon. So when you tip it away from you, see there's very little intensity, quite watery, and it is the lemon color. That's where the 2 marks are here, pale and lemon. Okay. On the nose, I love it. I think it's fantastic. Lovely nose. And Riesling is an aromatic, so it really jumps out of the glass. And that's what I find with this wine style. Lovely character, very vibrant. So I will accept a range here, medium or medium plus, you'll see on the nose. Now there are 7 marks for the nose, 2 for this part, intensity and development, and then 5 for the aromas. Now intensity, medium or medium minus. You can only put down 1 thing per line, but on 2 of my parts of the tasting note, I can do a range, and I've chosen to do so here. So medium or medium minus. The wine doesn't show any tertiary, so this is why I have put youthful on the development just there, and we'll back that up in just a moment's time. Now let's go and get those 5 marks for the aromas. Now, plenty going on here. Floral is what really jumps out the glass. And floral is one of the most volatile compounds, so hence why it's top of your list there. And I love this. It's kind of spring to early summer flowers. You've got the lovely sort of sweet honeysuckle, that little herbal chamomile edge, that little green elderflower, white blossoms such as apple blossom, and then jasmine. And you'll see that I've written jasmine on the side, like lemongrass, a little bit later. Now, this is perfectly fine. If you find something that's not in the systematic approach to tasting, please, you can put it down as long as it's something which is fairly usual and fairly common. If you're putting something which is very specific to you or your local market, which maybe the examiner will not know, then they will just ignore it. And this is where I get the jasmine here, which is quite common on Riesling. A lovely, lovely lift of jasmine. Now, green fruit, appley pear, but there's this little bit of sweetness that's coming through. Of course, this is a Riesling Kabinett, so it does have some sugar, and that's the grapiness on this. Grapefruit, and that little tanginess, lemon, but there's peach and melon here, stone and tropical fruit, and that's because this wine is a Rheingau Riesling. Rheingau is part of Germany, which is one of the warmest, certainly along the Rhine, and you find that you can get that slightly sort of riper fruit from here, certainly when you compare it to areas like the Mosel, where it's much more citric and green. So that's where I find that white peach and melon character. A little bit of grassiness to it. Fennel, dill, lemongrass, another one that I've added in there. Little hint of white pepper, like a Grüne Veltliner, and then that kind of salinity, that wet stone, wet woolly character that comes through. Now, there are no secondaries here. Riesling does not go through mallow, yeast, or oak, and this has had no time to develop yet, so there are no tertiaries that I find on this wine. So it will be 5 things from any of those aromas I just listed. It's youthful because, of course, there are no tertiary compounds. Let's give it a taste. Now, of course, there's sugar there. The sugar's there when it's in the mouth, and the sugar is still there now on its finish. And when sugar persists from start to finish, it must be on the final 3 right-hand side of your sweetness scale. If it started sweet but finished dry, you'll be looking at something like off dry or medium dry here, but it does finish sweet, this one. But it's not luscious, it's not sweet. They are wines with a lot of glycerol, a lot of texture. This is quite fresh with some sugar, and that's why I put medium sweet here as your category. Lovely high acidity, it's very tangy, lovely freshness there. My mind does not pick up any alcohol. I'm not thinking about warmth or heat at all on this wine. And of course, it's 9%. So this is low. But one thing this Riesling does have is a little bit of body. And that is because of the weight that comes from the Rheingau area, a south-facing, warmer part due to the Rhine River, which is very wide at this point. And you get this real sort of ripeness. It's not huge, but it's more than, say, a Mosel Kabinett Riesling would be. So the body I've gone through here is medium minus or medium. So a range again is my second range that I completed. So you must hit one of those. Now, if it was a Kabinett Riesling from Mosel, that might be light or medium minus. This is just that notch up in terms of body, which is classic of Rheingau. And Rheingau can often get more fuller than this. This just happens to be a slightly lighter style. Flavour intensity is decent at medium. The finish at this point is medium. I don't think it's got any more. It needs a bit more time to develop tertiary compounds. Then it's going to go into its long category. Now there's 6 marks. We've got 3 marks remaining, and that's for the primary characteristics, which are the same as last time. So that's 3 of any of those, which we saw on the nose. So make sure you hit 3 of those. Now, on both the nose and the palate, for aromas and then respectively the flavours, there are no negative marking. So you can put down as much as you want, but be somewhere between 5 and 15. I would hope on this wine you'll be putting something like 9 or 10 aromas or flavours. Then we come to our conclusions. And this wine has balance. It doesn't have a finish yet. It doesn't have complexity yet, although it's getting close, but it does certainly have intensity at medium for a medium minus body. So I would say that this wine is 2 out of 4, which is good. But with that texture and acid and sugar, there's good capability of aging here. So can drink now, but has potential for further aging. Nice wine. Okay. Second wine up is your reds. This is the Antica Corte Valpolicella. As you can see, it's a standard Valpolicella, not a Classico, Superiore, or a Rapasso or Amarone, or even a Recioto. It's just a Valpolicella DOC. Corvina is the main grape. It's got others in there as well, but you only need to know about Corvina. 2023 vintage at 12% alcohol and about $15 from Total Wine Tasted, April 2025. Now, this is fairly large production wine. This is a really pretty wine, but it's not made to be dense or rich. It's a fresh and aromatic style. And you've got clear transparency when you look through this wine. You can see lots of things. I can see my keyboard through it. I can see all the letters on each key. I can see words on my piece of paper here very clearly. That is pale. If you could see things through it, but it's hard to make out what they are, that's normally medium. And if it's almost impossible or impossible to see through it, that's deep. It doesn't have any developed colour. It's also not got purple, so this will sit in the red category, ruby red. So this is pale ruby. So this is a really pleasing wine. Not got much density on the nose, so it's not concentrated. It's not going to come from low yields and older vines. This is certainly a light and fragrant expression, but not hugely aromatic. So not much density and some aromatic, but not huge. And that is why I've gone for medium minus or medium. I put a range again. You can only put one or the other, of course. And it's got some red fruits and nice herbal characteristics, but it's not huge. It's very fresh. Now, the colour would dictate to us that it's probably going to be a younger wine, and it is. There's no tertiary compounds here, so it's youthful. And you'll see that I've put down simple as well. Now, we know the nose is 7 marks. We've done 2 already for intensity and development being youthful. Simple takes a mark as well if the wine is simple, and this one is. Simple means that the wine is displaying very few descriptors, typically below 8. So if you're getting 5, 6, or 7, you must be thinking that the wine's simple. It's often basically a light, delicate wine that's not really exhibiting much character. Let's see, though. Let's put that into play for simplicity. So 3 marks have done now for the nose, so we need 4 from any of these that you see on your slide. So these are our primaries. You'll notice it's got, for me, this is mainly red fruit and herbaceous. But there is a bit of floral, like violet, rose, maybe a hint of lavender. Bags of red fruits, very much sort of strawberry. I found it much more sweeter strawberry rather than raspberry. I found it had that kind of quite sour red cherry note to it, and then red plum, a little bit of spiced red plum maybe. The red currant and cranberry for sure, sort of pomegranate, cranberry, red currant. Now those are more on the palate for me. That's slightly sort of bitterness coming through. But red fruits, and then lots of herbal. Green pepper, tomato, basil, sage, mint, and a smidgen of white pepper. Now, as an examiner, you'll see that I've put down basically 4, 7, sort of somewhere around 15. I would expect you to get about half of that, which would be around 7 or 8. And that's why I think this is a simple wine style. I have also accepted resinous on the secondary characteristics, not because it's seen oak, but more that herbal character, kind of pine character that comes through here on this wine. Okay, let's get ready to taste. So very, very gentle wine, very light, quite sappy, quite acidic. So let's go through it. No sugar here, so this is dry. Lots of freshness, lots of tartness, if a little green with its acidity, but that's very high. hardly any structural tannin or gum drying sensation. This is much more about acidity. So I'm just going for low tannin here. It's just in the medium category of alcohol. Now, alcohol is only a 3-point scale. Please remember that many students put down medium minus or medium plus, and we can't mark it correct if that's the case. So just a 3-point scale. But if there was a 5-point scale, I would probably have this as medium minus. It is 12%, as we know. But the body on this red is exceptionally light. There is very little tannin, and the alcohol is fairly gentle. Both of those are what would really add body in this wine. And also, to back it up, the acidity is exceptionally tart and fresh. So the body is light. It's a very light red wine. Flavor intensity at medium minus or medium, because you've got red fruit, herbal, and a bit of floral character that comes through. That bit piney sort of character as well. It's simple again on the palate, and it has a relatively gentle finish. Medium minus is what I've gone for on this style. The flavor characteristics, so there is already 8 marks allocated out of 10 there for the palate because of simple. So that leaves just 2 of any of those flavors that are exactly identical to the primary aromas that we found on the nose. So those florals, red fruit, herbaceous, herbal, and spice characteristics. Should be quite easy to hit those. What I would do, if I was you, you copy and paste from the nose. So if you've put down 7 things on the nose, put them down on the palate. Identical, it's absolutely fine. Conclusion of this wine, well, it's just in the good category, and I'll tell you why. If you go through the Blick process, the wine has balance, which is absolutely fine. There is an argument that potentially it's a little bit too herbaceous, but I think it's okay. So it's balanced. Does it have L for length? No, because it was medium minus. Does it have I for intensity? Yes, it does, because it's medium for a light-bodied wine. The intensity is fairly nice for such a light wine. And is it C for complex? No, this is a simple wine, as I outlined both on the nose and the palate. So 2 out of 4 would consider this wine as good. Good. And would you age it? Well, we need structure. We need tannin, maybe a bit of more alcohol, in order to actually age this wine. And we don't have those. So this is drink now, not suitable for further aging. Okay, well, that brings me to the conclusion of that first part. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's really helping you with your tasting practice and giving you the confidence to taste with better skill. Part 2, we'll be looking at the second pair, so please do join me for that. All these videos are available for free, and the wines are all available from Total Wine at about $130. If you have any comments or questions, again, you know what to do. Pop your comment or question below this video. And if you do find yourself in the UK, come and say hello for a glass, or bottle. I've been Jimmy Smith. Ciao for now. Goodbye.